Does your mom respect your boundaries? When I told my mother I was pregnant, she said she was moving in immediately so we could parent together because mothers can't properly bond with babies without their own mother's constant presence. Mom had always been obsessed with the mother-daughter bond. She documented every second of my childhood in disturbing detail, keeping journals about my bowel movements and measuring my growth daily. She still tried to bathe me when I visited at 25, saying, "A mother's touch never expires." She'd been collecting videos of births for years, studying them obsessively and critiquing the mother's techniques. When I got married, she tried to come on our honeymoon, saying conception was a three-generation moment. She'd tell anyone who'd listen that modern women were too selfish to include their mothers in the sacred pregnancy journey. When my pregnancy test came back positive, Mom immediately presented a schedule she'd created. It showed her moving in with us for the entire pregnancy, attending every appointment, and being in the delivery room to coach me through labor. After birth, she expected to supervise every feeding, teaching me to breastfeed while she held the baby to her own chest for grand maternal bonding. She said if I refused, I'd be denying my child the complete family bond it deserved. Babies who don't bond with their grandmothers in the first year develop attachment disorders, she claimed, showing me fake research she'd printed. Mom moved into our guest room despite my husband's protests, turning it into her pregnancy command center, with charts tracking my weight, diet, and sleep. She insisted on being present for every doctor appointment, telling the OB she needed to verify I was following proper prenatal care. When the doctor asked her to wait outside during exams, she accused them of trying to sabotage the grandmother bond. She started sleeping outside our bedroom door to monitor if we were stressing the baby with intimacy. And then there was the birth preparation. She made me practice labor positions with her every night, insisting she'd be the one catching the baby when it came out. She'd already informed the hospital she'd be cutting the umbilical cord and having first skin-to-skin contact to establish the generational bond. She bought her own breast pump and started taking hormones to induce lactation, saying the baby deserved grandmother's milk too. My husband was horrified, but Mom threatened to have him removed from the delivery room entirely if he interfered with her grandmaternal rights. Mom monitored everything I ate, following me to the bathroom to check if I was constipated, which she said could squeeze the baby's brain. She'd put her hands on my belly constantly, talking to the baby about how grandma would be its real mother. When I tried to set boundaries, she'd cry hysterically and say I was murdering her grandchild's emotional development. She even hired a doula who specialized in grandmother-assisted births to advocate for her presence during delivery. At 30 weeks pregnant, I couldn't take it anymore. My husband found us a rental house 2 hours away, and we moved while Mom was at her weekly grandmother preparation class. We didn't tell anyone our new address and switched to a different hospital. For the first time in months, I could feel my baby move without Mom's hands immediately covering my stomach. We hired a security guard for the hospital just in case. Labor started at 37 weeks. It was peaceful and private, just my husband and me welcoming our son. But 2 hours after birth, while I was learning to breastfeed, Mom burst through the door with the doula she'd hired. They'd been checking every hospital in a 50-mile radius. Mom lunged for the baby, screaming, "Give me my grandson. He needs grandmother's milk." She actually tried to put my newborn to her artificially lactating breast while security rushed in. Mom filed an emergency custody petition claiming I was suffering from postpartum psychosis and denying her grandson essential bonding. She brought her lactation consultant and doula as witnesses, both testifying that grandmother bonding in the first hours was crucial for infant development. She'd recorded videos of me crying during pregnancy as evidence of mental instability and hired a lawyer who specialized in grandparents' rights. The social worker assigned to investigate seemed sympathetic to Mom at first, especially when Mom demonstrated how she'd prepared to breastfeed my son herself. Mom had medical records showing her induced lactation and a nursery set up in her home identical to ours. She told the social worker I was selfishly hoarding the baby and causing him psychological damage by denying him multi-generational bonding. Mom even brought her own mother to testify about their successful three-generation bonding when I was born, though I remembered it as grandma basically stealing me from Mom. During the hearing, Mom's lawyer asked the judge to order immediate grandmother bonding time, including breastfeeding rights. The judge asked Mom to clarify what she meant by breastfeeding rights. Mom explained she'd induced lactation specifically to nurse her grandson because one source of milk isn't enough. The judge closed the case immediately and I got a restraining order.